focus, and this is not the end of the world. So anyway, where I'm going with this is like, of course she feels bad, and I'm glad she does at times, but I just feel like sometimes she feels just too bad, and it's not that terrible for me because I'm just dealing with life. I mean, you know, the haters, I love the haters because how many times do I wake up in the morning and I think, you know, and I have a handful. I can give you first, last name, addresses, everything. And I'm just, you know, and it fuels me. I'm like, because of you, motherfucker, I will not fail. So those things fuel me. How I lived my life, it's normal. Everything, you know, I've never made excuses, not going to start now. It doesn't matter. And like, yeah, it's COVID, whatever. Yeah, okay. We had 2-3 bad months. You don't know how many times I had a bad month, a bad 6 month, a bad freaking year. I'm like, oh, okay, well, 2-3 years, life is going to be a little different. Yeah, I have my struggles watching like the kids and then all that. And it's really, really heartbreaking. But, you know, every once in a while I ask them like, so, you know, because we still have like our dinners together and, you know, just randomly just ask a question. I'm like, so tell me, what are you worried about? And I look at me like, oh, my phone, it just really bothers me, you know, that it doesn't hold a charge. And, you know, you just throw
I would have been like, give me the phone. Let me see it and check it out. And be like, chuck right in the trash. There we go. Solve that problem.
The point is, I do check in with the kids differently. And, you know, for me, it is also, of course, I see a struggle. They do. And we have our moments. But overall, we're always getting up in the morning. We're always on the move. We're always fighting. We're like, I'm sorry, what I meant to say, we're always fighting for our life, everything that we have built together. So so the kids are fine, you know? And so I just think that, you know, where I'm standing today with everything is I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, because uncomfortable for Jenny is my comfort zone. Yeah. It's not that terrible.
I think so. This is it's funny. I'm dancing this line between one lifetime and personality and another, right? And I'm kind of in this like metamorphosis, and I completely relate with where he's going, because that's been my life. I've always been the one, like, I just suck it up and I power through and I solve it. And it's been hard. And I have my moments like Jenny has where I'm like, oh my God, there's nobody here to say I got your back. There's like, I'm having to solve all the problems and I'm exhausted and I want somebody to just hold me and that type of thing. But I would say in that moment, it's so true what he says. It's like, it's just not lip service. It's like, he's got this because this is what he's conditioned to do. And sometimes it's more comfortable to operate in the mode of what you're conditioned in than it is to operate otherwise. So he's conditioned that. And so I also, in your shoes, like, I'm learning to ask for help, or I don't think I would go that far. I'm trying to learn to ask for help, but more often what's happening now is at least people are offering to help, and I'm learning to say, okay. Yeah. And grateful for the moments in which I can be like, you know what? I'm so tired. I'm just going to say, okay. And it's almost that feeling, probably you may feel this, of like closing your eyes and falling backwards and hoping they're going to fucking catch you. And you just do it and be grateful. I'm like, just accept it and be grateful. But I think it's admirable that you both, you know, you're aware of who each other are, right? And you're conditioned to be able to like hold her. And she's a powerhouse herself. And whatever, I'm going to get off my fucking coach soapbox, and we're going to talk about cars for a second.
But it's true. It's actually, I just to like
put a bow on it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it really has been a very valuable life lesson for me to be with Adam, because I lived my life one way until I was 40 years old. And then when Adam and I got married, it's like, it just changed everything. And I I have so much admiration for the way he lives his life. I really do. And it does make me uncomfortable, but it's toughened me up.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. It really is.
Do you still vacuum your house every day?
Do I what?
Still vacuum your house every day? The other day, I swear to God, I had this thought the other day. You and I have known each other since our little
time.
Babies, right?
Yes.
But I remember a time when
funny.
That was Jenny's thing. It was like she vacuumed her house every day. And I'm the worst house cleaner ever. So I'll go 7 months and not vacuum my house. But the other day I was thinking, literally, as I was doing the splits in my bedroom, and I was pulling the freaking hair that falls out off my legs. I was I want to be like Jenny. I just want to vacuum my room every day.
No, I don't do that anymore. Ever since, when we got together and we had all the kids, that was an impossibility.
Oh, you can't. Yeah.
I had to let it go. And that was also something good because I have some control issues.
Yeah, you and me both.
And that was a form of control, especially when my kids were younger. That was a hard time. And that was
young kidhood is hard.
It was tough. But I let that go. We have holes in our walls and
that's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Oh yeah. No, our house is falling apart.
So there's another, we've been talking about fitness and we've been talking about Sonoma Fit, but there's an entire other business that you have going, right? Kovacs Motors, is that what you call it?
Yes.
Is it going?
Well, that was going to be my question. How's car world for you? And that's the other thing is right. You're probably switching gears.
Yeah.
One side to the other.
Well, it's tough. The Kovacs Motors business, which ultimately started my life, my adult life,
right?
Because I got my degree, came to the US. I worked at a dealership, was really good at it because I was as it turns out, I was just really loving what I did, and I was damn good at it.
Yeah,
made 6 figures the first time I came to the US. 6 figures back in 2002 as a mechanic. Right.
Nice.
So that was mainly just because, I was working very hard. I was working long hours again.
You had a baby.
Yeah. Well, I had to, again, I had nobody. I couldn't come up with excuses. I couldn't run to anyone to bail me out. It's I'm on my own. Well, but again, that's just how I lived my life. I felt like I was on my own almost when I was born, whatever. So here I am starting this, and this was great. But again, I was on an H-1B visa. So basically, I have my life in the U.S. as long as I have a job.
Right.
If you don't have a job, you get fired, or you
home.
break the law. You're out within, immediately. You have to leave. So being in the U.S., Germans love America. I love America. I'm not a fan of the politics and whatever, and there's just, but we love the U.S. Mm-hmm. I swear we love the U.S. I'm so, every day I'm so proud to be here. I really am, and I'm still not a citizen.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, that was supposed to happen in October, but there was a wrench.
I have some friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Here I am, 20 years, still not a citizen, but yeah. So anyway.
Almost.
Yeah, as I was dealing with the Bill of Rights and, Constitution and all these things.
You were studying for your citizenship.
I was studying.
By the way, I just studied that test because a friend of mine is in the same boat. And I was like, oh my God, you know more about it than I do. That's it.
It's hard.
I studied the whole thing.
The questions are tough.
Well, and just a quick side note, and then I get back on the Kovacs Motors thing. But see, that was so confusing. I'm here I am for the first time studying the Bill of Rights, Constitution.
And the Americans don't know fuck all about it.
Yeah. And here comes someone and says, you got to go home. And even though when you're healthy, you got to be away. And all these rights are taken from us. And I was just scratch. I'm wow, that just makes no sense. So anyway, that was just a quick little side note. So I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay in the U.S. Loved everything about it. How lucky was I to fall right into California, Sunshine State, engine of the state, and the sixth of the country, sixth strongest economy of the world, and like you go one day to the beach, the next day you can snowboard. I mean, love it. So right away I'm just like, okay, I gotta work on this. What do I have to do? So I had to start. So fear of losing the option to be in the US was what motivated me to become independent, starting my Kovacs Motors business in 2003, I'm sorry. I came right after 9/11, like 10 days after. And so I started my business with literally like nothing. I mean, I had very little money saved up. I had to all the paperwork, everything that I had to do for this visa, because now I applied for a E2 visa. It's an investor visa. So meaning, all right, I got money, I got an idea, and I'm like so special. I'm not going to take the Americans' jobs away. No, right. I'm just going to be like an employer. So you check all these boxes, you work on all this stuff. So at this point, I had my daughter Justine, my son Noah, and we had baby Tony. She was 6 months. So here we are in the US, like getting ready. I rented like a little shop. I had to prove that I'm very invested, and so you do your thing and like take pictures, and so you just had to show that you invested money into the country,
right.
And you're gonna employ. And so anyway, so I did all that, opened up all the bank accounts, got everything ready to go. And so you cannot apply while you're in the US. So you have to go back to Germany. You kind of have to hang around, and you have to have an interview, and then you got to show like all your stuff. And this is where it's going to get very, very sad, but it's part of my life. So I applied for the visa. We flew back to Germany. While we're in Germany waiting for the interview appointment, my daughter died on SIDS. So she had a sudden infant death. So my youngest daughter passed away while we're like in Germany.
Oh my God.
Getting ready to start build on our new life. So, it's was a challenge.
Yeah.
At the time was a huge challenge. So we were dealing with that, and changed life forever. That's part of why I'm like giving a shit but not giving a shit.
Right. Completely.
I mean, I have seen the worst.
Yeah, of course.
We're not supposed to outlive our children.
You should never outlive your children. Oh my God.
So part of who I am today, that's her. So we dealt with it, which was bad. Got the interview, but the U.S. was great, because when you go to the embassy, I know it was the weirdest thing, because she was a U.S. citizen, because she was born under a visa.
Yeah.
So because she was a U.S. citizen, I had to report her death at the embassy. So we went to the embassy, and, it's kind of a thing like, okay, well, what's your appointment for? It's like, well, I lost my daughter, and I happen to have an interview for my investor's visa. So, and it was like immediately you could just tell, like they right away knew it was, they knew, because we just sat down, and within probably 10 minutes, they just came up and they're like, here's your visa. And, of course, our condolences. And so we got the visa. And at that point, like, I didn't give a shit.
I was going to say, whatever.
So we got back, and, I was dealing with this myself. My wife at the time, she was, it's like one of this problem that you have. You're not living or feeling it together. You're dealing with it individually.
Completely.
Thankfully, we had Justine and Noah, who I owe my life to, because if it wouldn't be like having like other children around, I mean, it
wouldn't have been worth it. Yeah, I would only.
So tough part. Then, you come back to the U.S. and then you just live it again, because you're like, oh my God, where is Tony? And so you kind of just reliving this for the second time, and my God, it was just one year. I kind of know, I don't know. So I was at that point, I had my work. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to start wrenching on cars, and just did my thing. didn't want to make it such a long story, but I don't want to skip that because it's an important part of my life. So I started our little shop. That shop turned into a bigger shop, turned into a little larger shop, and then we got the dealership like in Sonoma. Then we added